Servers aren't allowed happy hour, by user preparation plus 9735. This happened about 10 years ago, when I was working as a server at a cheesecake factory in a mall. Sometimes a couple of us would go to one of the other restaurants nearby for happy hour in between shifts when working a double. We would have our aprons with us, as we usually were just using tips to pay. Mind you, cheesecake back then had their servers wearing god-awful pleated khakis, with even worse white non-slip shoes. The two main restaurants we would go to had much preferable all-black uniforms. So, really didn't look at all the same. We snagged a high top, were chowing down, not drinking, unfortunately, when two women came up and asked us to move. We assumed they just wanted our table, so told them we would be done in 20 tops, had to get back to work. One of them got super angry, asking if we were seriously going to take a break in the bar when it was busy, taking away a table from paying customers. Again, we just kind of assumed well, they noticed our uniforms and that we were taking a break. Told them we would be done soon, but that there may be spots at the bar open. Our server brought the last app we ordered out at that point, and one of the women asked her if it's standard policy for employees to take up a table when they're on break. Server was equally confused, saying, "They don't work here, they're customers." The other woman referred to our uniforms, saying clearly we are mall employees, and therefore shouldn't be eating in public. That sealed it. All of our polite, CS smiles shut down, and even our server changed her tone. Told the women if they had a problem they could speak to the manager, otherwise they could join the wait list for a regular table. Supposedly they went off in search of a manager, but never came back. We left 20 minutes later, as promised, vainly hoping they had decided to go to cheesecake instead, so we would have the pleasure of seeing them again lol. Entitled woman thinks that I'm her manservant, by user intrinsic 1618. Not sure if it's technically an r/IDontWorkHereLady post as the offender and I both acknowledged early on that I didn't work there, but here goes. I was in a supermarket walking in an aisle when a middle-aged woman asked me if I worked there. I reply that I didn't and move on. She then yells at me from behind that she just wants something down from the top shelf and that if I had a heart, I'd help her. Lady, you could have just asked. I walk over to her to help. She grimaces and mutters under her breath about how hard it is to get help these days instead of be glad or at the very least be remotely positive that someone's bothering to help her out. I ignore this and ask what she needed help getting down. She points at a display pack containing cards of stain-removing pens above the shelf which by their placement indicated that they were part of the inventory, not meant for sale at that particular moment. I then look around and there are literally dozens of it hung on two adjacent wire hooks right in front of us. When I point this out to her, she snaps at me and says in a rapid fire, "I'm not blind, I don't want those. Can't you just do what I asked? It's not a big deal." I roll my eyes and oblige. I pick out the first card from the display pack and give it to her. Now, I'm a tall guy but not that tall, so I neither see nor realize that it could have been covered in black dust up there. It was, and my hand is soiled from merely touching it as if it were from an oil spill. She makes a face and hands me the item back saying again that I don't want this one, can't you grab one from the back? I then proceed to do just that like a pushover but stop halfway when she adds and do it away from me so I don't breathe this filth in. I let out a sigh, dust off my hands and tell the lady to do it herself before walking away. Apparently my blazer comes with airline authority, by user Cupcaklet. I was at the airport exhausted wearing a navy blazer and standing near the gate counter, just trying to charge my phone. That's it, no name tag, walkie-talkie or any look of competence lol. This woman in a tracksuit storms up to me dragging two suitcases looking like it was the end of her world. Finally. Someone who can fix this, my seat is by the toilet. At this point I'm confused and say that's unfortunate. I joke you not. She slaps her boarding pass in my hand and asks me to move her to business class because she has some sort of disability which I couldn't see at all. I look at the ticket. Economy. Middle seat. Ma'am, I don't. And before I could finish she cuts me off. Don't play dumb. You people love doing that when you mess up. At this point the actual gate agent walks over. Similar blazer. Same exhausted posture. Basically my twin with authority. Tracksuit lady spins on her and says, "Tell your trainer to fix my seat." The agent blinks. Trainee. I hand the woman's ticket back and say sorry, my shift just ended, then walk toward Starbucks like I'm clocking out of a sitcom. As I'm ordering I look back. I saw the look on the tracksuit lady's face. The agent probably told her I didn't work here. She looked completely stunned. I'm 90% sure she lost her aura in her upgrade. To this day I still wonder if she really had a disability. I'd be guessing, I think he was concerned, by Usarudin Dauburn. I sold some stuff to a guy on FB. We arranged to meet in the old armory parking lot. The lot is kind of out of the way. As I'm pulling up, a man and a woman are hugging and kissing between two cars. It just gave me the vibe of they are married but, not to each other. I parked on the other end of the lot. I had nothing else to do while I waited, I watched them. They separated by the time I parked. The lady left after a few minutes. All that kissing and hugging and they didn't even kiss goodbye. I thought, they probably think I'm spying on them or something. The guy drives down by me and parks a few stalls away. He started walking towards me. I rolled down my window. He was close enough to see the electronic crap I was selling on the seat, I think. He asked me what I was doing. I told him I was a private investigator working on a case. He said, "Oh," and got back in his car and left. He just turned right around and he was gone. I wonder how the couple's next conversation went. LOL. No, I am not a doctor, by user Sprite Beater. This happened a few years ago now, but is a tale definitely worth telling. I had a period of CBT for 6 weeks and was traveling to an out-of-town health center. I had just come from work and was wearing a shirt and tie and still had my school ID round my neck. I'm a teacher. As I left my appointment room, a nurse grabbed my arm and asked me into a side room. I went with it as I thought there might be a reason or ID not signed in for my appointment correctly. When I got into the room, she brought me to the computer and said, "Please, can you have a look at these bloods for MRS?" I forget her name as they are really unusual. I informed her I didn't work there and she went white as a sheet. Kinda like I'm going to lose my job, white as a sheet. She said she thought I was the new locum, temporary doctor. She apologized so much and I assured her I wouldn't report her. I left with a "I look like a doctor" spring in my step.